It's a real pleasure for me as an old history teacher to have the opportunity to introduce someone who's made history. John A. McBride is a captain in the United States Navy. The fact that he is a NASA astronaut is a source of pride for all of West Virginians. Captain McBride was born in Charleston, but calls Beckley, West Virginia his hometown. He graduated from Woodrow Wilson High School in 1960. He received his Bachelor of Science degree in Aeronautical Engineering from the United States Navy Postgraduate School in 1971. He has also done graduate work in Human Resources Management at Pepperdine University. During his military career, Captain McBride has achieved many honors and special awards. He was awarded the Defense Superior Service Medal, 3 Air Medals, the Navy Commendation Medal, the Navy Unit Commendation, and the National Defense Medal, and the Vietnamese Service Medal, and also the NASA Space Flight Medal. 4 colleges and universities in West Virginia have honored him with honorary doctorate degrees. Captain McBride's naval service began in 1965. He has logged more than 5,000 hours of flying time, including 4,500 hours of jet aircraft. While serving in Vietnam, he flew 64 combat missions. He was selected as an astronaut candidate by NASA in January 1978 and became an astronaut in August of 1979. His NASA assignments have included being the lead chase pilot for the maiden voyage of Columbia and pilot of the STS-41G, which launched from Kennedy Space Center, Florida on October the 5th, 1984. With a crew of 7, the largest to date, the mission lasted for 8 days. Mission duration was 197 hours and concluded with the landing at Kennedy Space Center on October the 13th, 1984. Captain McBride is currently responsible for NASA's relations with Congress in addition to training for spaceflight. Captain McBride, you are truly an American hero, and we are deeply grateful that you have accepted our invitation to be our 1988 commencement speaker. Please join me in giving a warm Sissonville welcome to Captain John A. McBride.
Thank you, sir. It's indeed my pleasure to be here with you this evening and to share with you, the Sissonville Indians, your graduation ceremony here for the class of 1988. It's always a pleasure to be back home here in West Virginia, and as I've told people throughout my 23 years of naval and NASA service, they always know where John McBride comes from the first time they meet me, and that's right here in West Virginia, and I hope that you all will carry that with you for the rest of your lives. Be proud to be from Sissonville and from here in West Virginia, because we are special people back here, and I believe that. We are here to celebrate what we call a commencement. I know there are a lot of people around who think that commencement means the end. But I took the liberty of looking up in Mr. Webster's dictionary the definition of commencement. Let me give you a couple words there. If you look in Webster's, it says commencement is the act of starting or beginning. So it's not the end. This is just the beginning of what I hope will be many, many more happy years for you, and possibly many more graduation ceremonies for lots of you here. I do hope that plenty of you plan on attending a college next year and the next few years in the future. But there's lots of ways that you can graduate. I hope that a lot of you do go on to college and graduate, but there are lots of other ways that you can graduate. And by graduating, I mean joining this human society of ours and being a productive member of that society. And no matter which way you do that, whether it be on to college or joining the military or going into civilian industry or whatever it is you want to do, starting tomorrow, there's lots of things that you're going to have to remember. And I hope you'll carry some of these words with you this evening and tuck them in your hip pocket or your front pockets, and remember a couple or 3 or 4 of these words that I'm going to review with you. And I'm sure that your parents or your teachers or your coaches or even your friends sitting on your left or your right can verify that what I'm going to say is probably really the truth, and listen to some of them. There's a couple of words that you really got to be familiar with, and I think one of those things is hard work. You know, you hear people say, oh gosh, here we go again, hard work. I don't really care where you go or what you do. You've got to work hard to make it happen. You've always heard people say nothing's going to come easily. You've got to go out and work for it. And that is really the bottom line to just about everything that you're going to be facing here in the next few years. It's not going to come to you. You, the folks in the class of 1988, are going to have to go out and get it. Another word you ought to stuff in one of your hip pockets is honesty. You might think you're fooling somebody if you're not doing things right all the time, but it's going to catch up with you, and you might look around to a lot of people whom you admire here in the local area or around this nation of ours, or even around the world, and say, gosh, that person did something magnificent or great, but they don't always do it right, so why should I? But you got to remember that those people who are maybe attaining these things through less than ethical means or manners, they're probably suffering a little bit inside, deep down in their hearts and their guts. It may look like to you that they're being a success right now, immediately, as of today or tomorrow or next week, but somewhere down the line they've got to pay for that stuff, for the cheating or the dishonesty that they've done over the last 20 or 30 years or throughout their lives. So bear that in mind. Try to be an honest person, and you got to be honest with yourself to start with, before you can be honest with those around you. Another thing you got to tuck away in your pocket is, concern and respect for other people. I don't think you can ever go out and do anything without having some kind of compassion for those people with whom you work and live and associate. It's been that way. You know that way. It's been that way here in high school, and I just hope that you'll continue that. We folks here in West Virginia are really compassionate people, I think, and I hope you'll carry that with you as you leave. Have you ever heard the saying that you reap what you sow? These are old cliches, I'm sure. Or what goes round comes round. So bear those things in mind as you leave high school this evening and start off into your life this summer or next year. Another thing that I want to mention is the word communication. You know, we have a terrible time sometimes communicating our inner feelings or how we feel. We have this terrible problem of storing things up inside, letting them well up inside and becoming real problems, whether it be passion or grief or illness or pain. And what I would encourage you to do is to share those thoughts with other people. There's always someone that you can sit down and talk to and rationalize with and work these problems out. So communication is a very, very important part of your life in the future. This wind is kind of tough out here today. I guess one thing I really wanted to stress to you that you haven't been on this earth a very long time. You've been here 16, 17, 18 years, and a lot of us here on the stage and in the audience have been here a long time. And we can guarantee you that life is really shorter than you think it is. You're just beginning it. The word commencement, you're just beginning it. So what we, your parents and your friends and your neighbors, would encourage you to do is to start tomorrow to make the best of it. And one of those other words you got to carry along with you is love. You know, that's a very powerful word. I think that's the most powerful word that you can find in our dictionary. And love can be used and it can be abused. And what I would encourage you to do is to use it abundantly, but use it cleverly and wisely. It's a very powerful feeling. Even if you remember all of these words and you do use them cleverly and wisely, you've got to realize that over the next several years you're going to have some problems. You're going to face some trials and tribulations. And I think one of the good things that we have here from growing up in West Virginia is the hills and the valleys. We always know that when we get down in the valley that we're going to soon be up on top of that next hill and be able to see ahead. I think that's what helps us as we leave and go out and face this world of ours, is the fact that we do grow up in these mountains and these hills and valleys, and we learn to live with ups and downs. I think it really helps us to have been raised here that way, because we always know that if we are down in the valley, just give us a little more time and we'll be up on top of that next hill looking ahead. We've had some terrible tragedies at NASA. You know, we lost 3 of our Apollo astronauts back in the 60s, and we had a terrible tragedy 2.5 years ago when we lost our 7 Challenger crewmen in January of 1986. It's been a terrible 2.5 years that I've had to live through personally, and those are the kinds of things that you're going to have to live through in the future. Not everything's going to be rosy. But we at NASA have worked very diligently and very hard over the last 2.5 years to make your space program and our space program viable, a strong, and an efficient way of getting ourselves into space. We have learned, we think, from our tragedies, as we hope, or I hope that you will learn from your mistakes and your tragedies over the next years of your life. But what you have to do is really learn from those things and be able to bounce back and be more strong and more resilient. If you don't learn from your problems and from your the ill-fatedness that you'll run across in the next few years, you're not really learning. So try to learn from those problems. I think if you do that, dig down inside and review all those internal feelings, try to communicate those things, learn from your mistakes, and profit from the errors that you make, you will be a better human being. There's no doubt about that. I want to talk about a couple of groups that we probably have in front of us. I know that we have 170 or so graduates, but you can probably break the groups, or this total group here, into two basic groups, either those of you in the upper half of the class and those of you in the lower half of the class. But you could probably break it up a little bit into two subgroups out of that thing. And those are the ones of you that have been working hard, very hard here during the last 3 years of your life here at Sissonville High School. And there are those of you who have probably just been coasting along, just doing what's necessary or whatever it takes to get through and to get through this evening. Of course, the upper half of you who have been stroking it and striving and working very diligently over the last several years, you're the ones that are going to be the leaders of our country here over the next few years. You guys and gals who are in the bottom half who've just been coasting along, I hope you'll use this evening and this summer to reevaluate where it is you're heading and see if you can improve upon your goals and your aspirations for this next several years of your life. I really truly do believe that you have to wake up every morning of your life and have some kind of a goal for you yourself to accomplish that day. And I also believe that you must have a long-range goal, something that you can look forward to for the next 10 or 20 or even 30 years from now. So if you're sitting right here in front of me right now this evening with no goals and aspirations for the future, I hope you wake up tomorrow or next week or sometime and say, golly, I better wake up and get busy. There's two groups of you in the middle that we got the upper class guys and gals who have cruised through, made real good grades and really haven't put forth their full effort. And we've got those guys and gals who've been making C's and have really been stroking it for the last 3 years, really been putting out everything they possibly can. I'll guarantee you that if I had to go out and hire one of those two people, I would much prefer that B or C student has given it her or his all and has been working hard and diligently for the last 3 years, and that person who's making straight A's and not really giving it his or her all. They're resting on their God-given talents, and that can only take you so far. You yourself have to get out there and work and do some of those things. I guess I'll start to try to wrap it up and close up now. If you have really been working hard here at Sissonville High, all I can say is glory to you, and I hope that you'll keep it up. If you haven't been, if you're in that group who's just been coasting along here for the last few years, I hope that, as I say, you'll wake up in the next couple of days and say, gosh, it's about time that I really started thinking ahead and planning something good for my life and those people around me. It's not too late. It's never too late. But the sooner you get started, the sooner you sit down and start those goals, the better off you'll be. So remember 3 or 4 of those words. I know you've heard them over and over all of your life, and if they didn't mean something, if they didn't cause people to aspire to do good things, they wouldn't be repetitive. You wouldn't hear them from everybody who stands up and talks to you. So tuck those words in your pocket. Hard work, honesty, concern and respect, and love. And some of the other things that I've mentioned, I want you to remember those too. That be proud that you're from Sissonville, that you're a Sissonville Indian. And be proud that you're from the state of West Virginia. And I think if you should leave our state here in the next week, months, or years, that as you travel off and do your thing the rest of your life, don't let those people out there change you so much as you try to change them, because I think we here in West Virginia really learn how to do things right. And I think if you'll go out there and try to change the rest of the world, we'll all be better off rather than allowing them to change you. Because I really do believe we do it right. And one last thing I want you to carry with you is that there's only one person in this whole world, really, that can make or break you. There's only one person in this world that's responsible for your actions, and that's you. It's not your teacher, it's not your principal, it's not your mom or your dad or the person on your left or your right or your neighbors or your minister, it's you. If there's something in this world that you want to go out and do, believe you me, there's no reason that you can't do it. We don't have limitations anymore in this country to somebody that wants to go out and do something. And I grew up in a little coal camp up in Raleigh County and have gone on and had the opportunity to fly the space shuttle. And I hope to go back and do it again. So if there's somebody sitting in this audience that wants to go do that, you can do that. You can do anything you want to do, and I really do believe that. I would be remiss if I came up here and didn't mention something about drugs. I think it's one of the most serious problems that we in America have today. And I certainly hope you don't have a problem with that yourself. If you do, you better sit down and reconsider that fact too, because there's no such thing as an old drug user or an old drug pusher. And they are not your friends. They'll kill you. They're your enemy. They're not your friends. So if you're experimenting or considering experimenting with drugs, I would surely encourage you to reevaluate that, not to do that stuff. It's going to mess up your life. And I'll caution you one more time about the next few days. I think the odds are that high school classes lose more of their members during the first week or so after graduation than any other week during the rest of your lives. That's because of the way that you'll probably, and most people rightfully so, do celebrate and have a good time. We all did. But I would ask you to watch out for your fellow classmates during the next 3 or 4 days or week or whatever. Take care of each other. And as I said, life is too short not to enjoy it. And I would encourage you to go out there and leave your mark on this society of ours. So I charge you, the class of 1988 here at Sissonville High School, to get out there and go for it. And thank you very much, and God bless you.
Sissonville High School, I certify that the students of the class of 1988 have met the graduate requirements in all county schools and for the state of West Virginia. Harry E. Alexander. Becky Lynn Anderson. Pamela Lynn Angus. Donald E. Asbury. Candace Lynn Bailey. Carrie Lee Bailey. Tamara Jean Bailey. Shannon Lee Barnhart. Brian Keith Bean. Joy Lynn Bean. Johnny Don Bean. Jason L. Beckett. Craig David Barrier. William Matthew Berry. Laura Ann Bogus. Janet Elaine Barasot. Jeannie Elaine Brown. Angela Marie Burdette. Craig Stuart Burford. Cheryl Ray Burford. Craig Allen Callison.